Signs of the Southland, Mr. Jake Grant. I heard you recently drove through a number of cities on your way back from a short stay in Chicago. Please tell me about your road trip.
Sure. Do you want the traffic? Do you want the planes I saw? Do you want the campuses I saw? The food I ate? What's our angle here? I
I'm
get that
really
it's
going for campuses and food with an emphasis on food, personally.
okay. Well, the how do you say, the food is mostly concentrated in the Chicago and Atlanta ends of the trip, but I did get to how you say, do a nice spin through Nashville. So instead of going down there on Friday, it was nice to pick up some lunch on one direction of the trip. But in terms of campuses, I did, in particular, and of note to our dear listeners, did get to spin through Louisville, which was an interesting change for. I don't know. I feel like I've seen a lot of campuses and a lot of our peer campuses, Athens, Clemson, Auburn, Tallahassee come to mind. But
Some might not consider some of those peer campuses, but I digress.
well, some of those campuses may not consider themselves the peer of us, but I think we may be getting too meta if we keep digging into that.
Continue.
Yes. So I did go up to Louisville in particular. As a yes, for those of you who listen and don't know, my sister is going there to play softball. So we were marauding around the campus in between transiting their fair city, but it left me with some takeaways, and I think that there's a lot to unpack there. And a lot that's relevant to us as a school, academically, us as a school, athletically. I say us now that we are both firmly graduates, but I think most people who listen to the podcast can excuse that language faux pas. In terms of the campus, I'm sure you'll be shocked to hear that Louisville Cardinals' biggest shiny investments, newest looking parts of campus, the thing that made me resentful and jealous and made me want that was basically all in the athletic facilities, my guy. That they have clearly put a lot of money into that, but
why am I not
I don't know.
surprised?
It wasn't in a way that made me go like, we're not worthy or we don't have that, because obviously we have beautiful facilities, especially
Now
in the
he
form
says
of
as he tries to backpedal very quickly.
well, in the form of the essentially new baseball and basketball stadiums we have, the recently refreshed Bobby Dodd. It's hard to blow out concourses and make that as new as Cardinal Stadium is, but we have actual football tradition at our school. But Akshay, they don't even have a combined field hockey, lacrosse, soccer, track facility. They all have their own separate facilities.
I see this as
Yeah.
a rampant desire.
I mean, a hidden desire there. Their pool was pretty new looking, but frankly, going around the rest of it didn't like I don't know. I take how nice Georgia Tech is, how modern, how renovated, how cutting edge, and to an extent, I like the modern, the sharp look, the incredibly not incredibly traditional landscaping we have, but the clean lines and modernist versions of that we do have. And not that I felt bad, but like it was weird. I was expecting to be all like, we need to dump all this money in sports, but I kind of left going like, for what we do, Georgia Tech ain't too bad in terms of that investment, in terms of where we see results. We see results and investment at Georgia Tech, not only say in a Colk or a Candida building or a student center, but they just put $9 million into McNeese, and it looks like a very acceptable, very well done stadium. Also, I need to make a pivot here, but I hope that made sense. I don't want to ramble on too long about esoteric and somewhat arbitrary, personally found differences between these two campuses. I don't want to pick on someone either.
He's pivoting, and I can hear him physically pivoting too.
I am. It sounds like my roommate's playing something, and his TV is right up against the wall where I record. So, we're going out in the common room and
He's now
hoping.
putting his roommate on blast. Incredible.
No, it's fine. It's a new subletter. I'm trying to be nice. I forgot to tell him I was recording, so we're being accommodating. How's that?
Fine.
Yeah.
Let's accommodate some remaining spring sports in action, shall we?
Yeah, for sure.
Let's start with track. Nicole Fegans and Bria Matthews advanced to the NCAA Championships in Eugene, Oregon, after their performances at the NCAA East Regional preliminary rounds in Jacksonville this past weekend. Fegans in the 5K and Bria Matthews in the triple jump. NCAA Championships are the week of the 9th and to the 12th. How
Yeah.
are we feeling about this?
Well, obviously, we quite frankly don't have a shot at winning. I think that's something you can put out there. But much as we've seen in the last, I don't know, several years of Georgia Tech track, we still produce a couple standouts every year. And granted, particularly Matthews has been a standout performer, leading the headline for
For
probably.
the better part of a decade, casually.
Oh, yeah, for sure. But they both have legitimate shots of being all Americans, and that's not a bad thing to hang your hat on. But don't expect a trophy, I think, is the right way to phrase that.
I mean, I think track is a little bit different from swim and some of the other championships, in that, from what I can tell from the press releases that Tech has put out about the track championship, it seems like there are the only two entrants. These are the only two entrants. You don't get like the situation in swim where you have like every relay is now eligible, and each person in that relay now can swim an event that they have a B cut in, and where it gets complicated. So I don't know. It might just be these two. So trophy maybe not, but individual silverware or goldware or metalware potentially possible.
Yep. That first team All American would be a very nice place for both of them to wind up. The 5K is right back in Fegans' wheelhouse, and Matthews and the triple jump go way back. So, wishing them the best. They have about a week until they're actually out there in Oregon, and that's a brand new stadium too.
I don't think it's brand new. It's been very heavily renovated with Phil Knight money.
Tear down, rebuild.
Yeah, okay. It's Gator Bowl-esque.
Oregon Track and Field Stadium. There. Gotta fact check myself in the middle of this,
Hayward Field, Eugene, Oregon.
Yeah, I mean it's 100 years old. It's probably the most. I think Penn's pretty famous of a track too, but this has to be one of them. It's gorgeous. It's a gorgeous facility. But yeah, no. How many purpose-built large track arenas do you think there are in America?
Very few, and also this one hosts the Olympic trials. So
yes.
The other thing is, if I remember correctly from the renders, and I guess we're getting way off topic now, but if I remember correctly from the renders for this stadium, the stands are as steep and tall and similarly angled to the stands at Husky Stadium for Washington. Is it Husky Stadium or Alaska Airlines Field? I don't know.
It's something at Husky.
It's like Alaska Airlines Field at Husky Stadium. It's one egregiously long corporate sponsored name, but you get the point I'm trying to make here.
Yeah.
Are you now looking at the renders very closely to see if I'm right?
I have no idea if you're right or what. I feel like the old stadium had those big awnings that looked more Husky Stadium-ish, but it wouldn't surprise me if they did that just for the heck of it, I guess. I don't know. It's a 25,000 seat track stadium. That's basically not a white elephant, but
I mean, it's purpose built for the U.S. Olympic trials, more or less.
It is a very unique facility.
Call it what it is. It is definitely an U.S. Olympic track arena.
A monument to excess.
Phil Knight money, baby. All right, moving on to other places where Phil Knight money might be useful. Football has seen the end of its eternal winter. I guess this accounts for all NCAA sports, but specifically for football in our case, the end of the recruiting dead period has arrived with the turnover of the calendar to June. So recruits can now visit campus, they can talk to coaches, coaches can go visit. And we can all drop bags merrily again. How fun is that?
Hooray!
Hooray, indeed. Let's move on to the more interesting stuff. Women's and men's tennis finished up doubles play this past week. Flores and Jones fell in the round of 32 to UNC's number 4 overall pairing of Jones and Scott. Different Jones, obviously.
Jones.
The one Jones was playing on both sides, obviously.
Yep.
Hrastar and Cohen also fell in the round of 32 to Oklahoma's Corley twins, who were ranked number 23. On the men's side, Andres Martin fell to Alabama's Edson Ortiz in 3 sets in singles, and then in doubles, Martin and his partner McDaniel advanced the round of 32 by beating South Carolina's number 13 pairing of Rodriguez and Thompson, but then fell to Tennessee's number 4 ranked squad of Walton and Harper. That was a lot of text. I don't like reading straight off of our shot sheet, so please provide some analysis here.
I mean, quite frankly, they all did okay. It wasn't. I would have liked to probably see more from Jones and Flores as a perennially elite ranked doubles team. But
look, when Kenya has to play both sides of the court, it gets a little dicey. All right.
Yeah, I don't know. The boys are young. The girls are fine. I don't know. I feel like I'm just kind of hand waving away. I don't want to sound like that. I mean, I very much care about what they're doing and whatnot. But they got some dubs. The boys, I think, have 3 more opportunities to do this. So you live, you learn, and maybe they get that crown in a year or 2. But yeah, no, it was a good run and a great 4-5 years for Flores and Jones, respectively. So not going to hate on that at all. That is an incredible accomplishment, and what the combined 9 years of tennis they gave to Georgia Tech, including that Final Four run, were. That's about all you could ask for. That's the most success any student athlete's seen in the last 5 years. So,
and they also, I mean, in terms of the team event, they also went. It's not like it was a complete failure or anything. They still went to the round of 16.
Oh yeah.
So, I'm like, it was a good run. I think you put it well. Like, it was a good run. There's nothing to be upset with here necessarily. Maybe you could have wanted to see a little bit more, but it's nothing to be upset over.
Yep, they were top to bottom, perhaps the most successful tandem of student athletes of the year of the last 2-3 years. So, no hating, only appreciating.
You can't see this, but I'm nodding along vigorously with what you're saying.
Excellent. That's how we like it.
Podcasting and podcast recording are visual mediums.
Mm-hmm.
Moving
I
on.
definitely know all the stuff you're doing this whole time. Yep.
Obviously. It's telepathic, actually. That's just the host, podcast hosting mentality right there.
Oh, for sure.
Moving on to Tech's most successful recent team, from their most successful, individual athletes. Let's talk about men's golf and their time at the NCAA Championship Round. They were in a bit of a fight, I think. They finished tied for 15th, which is the first cut originally. With the first cut after 3 days, they won the playoff round versus TCU to be actually 15th and advance to the final round of, I think it was stroke play.
Yeah.
And then they just sort of stopped. They played pretty well, I think, in that final round, but they got outmatched by other teams, and so they finished 15th on the tournament. They with the final poll out, I think it was this morning, they were ranked 24th. All in all, I mean, for a team that we keep saying lost 2 U.S. amateur champs, not a bad showing. Honestly, I'm not disappointed in any way, shape, or form. I'm pretty ecstatic about this, especially since they made it to, I mean, the second to last day, basically.
This team clawed its way back into a legitimate top 25 poll finish, but a frankly one of the better NCAA showings we've seen in the last couple of years. And I got really, really heated online the other day because, as you and I know, as Twitter managers from the Rumble seat.
Okay, Twitter, occasional tweeters. Twitter managers is giving us a lot more credit than we're due. All we do is post dumb things online and occasionally make really crappy memes.
Well, and retweet results from non-rev sports. And some dude in the replies goes like something along the lines of like 12th isn't good enough as like the results from the NCAA tournament. Like,
I mean, like
all the teams, like, yes, this is the team you should probably have the highest expectations for, given they have, 18 of the last, 35 ACC championships in golf.
Almost 500, baby.
They have
I guess it's more than 500 technically.
Have the third or fourth most runner-up finishes in NCAA golf history, but that ignores the complete vacuum of this team fell off of a freaking cliff and was looking dire. A doldrums bad, and granted that was after one or two tournaments of which standout freshman Christo Lamprecht hadn't even played or was just playing his first college round. So obviously there's some level of understanding,
adjustment, and
improvement that was inherent coming from that sub. But to completely retool, lose after losing Mr. Strafacci, Mr. Ogletree, and the second Mr. Schneiderjans, to make it not only through a regional that they were projected to be fifth and a borderline fifth in advance to nationals. And we know even better, more talented Georgia Tech golf teams have failed to make that cut line at regionals. It happened in 2018, and I think 2017 too, but don't quote me on that. But definitely, I remember being very angsty and slack before I understood what the heck golf was about that, just because I expected them to roll through, and I think we all kind of did. But it goes to show when you work hard, you get better, and this team is one that, more than any other program at Georgia Tech, yes, men's basketball throughout the year could probably have said to be improving, but the trajectory was fairly linear and fairly directionally up. So again, to make it through the cut, to
win the playoff round,
to win a playoff, they were what, 9 strokes or 9 places out of being able to advance, and all 9 teams. Yeah, it was 9 teams. They were in 24th, and they need to be in 15. All 9 teams in front of them imploded, which is incredibly lucky. But also, then you have to go out there first thing in the morning and earn your spot, and they knocked off TCU. So more power to them. They finished in front of a lot of teams that pundits, numbers, and pollsters thought were better than them. So,
are you decrying analytics right now?
Yeah, take that, math. What's a math?
Pablo Mastroeni in the flesh.
That's
a soccer reference you won't get.
I don't understand what that is. But anyways, one thing before, because I can feel the this has gone on an adequate amount of time, starting to creep into.
Do you want me to play a buzzer? Will that help?
The last thing I'd like to say is great to see out at the NCAA's a Georgia Tech football alum has a house along the course and is very.
Where was this course? I still don't know where it was. Was it in Arizona or Oklahoma or?
Because they played it to practice, I believe, during the year, but it was it's in Scottsdale. Yes, in Scottsdale. So
so it was in Arizona. Okay,
that's where they played on the way back into into the East Coast from being out west on that long trip that they took.
Okay.
You were thinking because the Oklahoma schools are very good at golf, so that might be where
No, that's where it was a couple years ago. I think that's where it was in 19 or 18.
Fair enough.
That's why I remembered it. But yeah, I mean, it's what a coincidence that there's an alum that lives on the course in Scottsdale.
Hey, that one in one Georgia Tech grads are millionaires or something like that. Whatever they're saying on the hill at the Edge building.
Do you feel like a millionaire, Jake?
No. Do you? How's the condo life? You know.
No comment personally. Let's move on because, like you said, we've spun our wheels on the golf train for long enough at this point. Let's move on to the bat and ball sport du jour, baseball, who tragically fell in the ACC semifinals to NC State. It was not, from what I remember of this game, it was not a pretty showing for the Yellow Jackets, and I guess it wasn't DBAP this time. It was Charlotte.
The strike zone might as well have been an Andy Warhol painting, and I say this plenty.
Jackson Pollock. I'm thinking
Jackson Pollock. That's it.
Andy Warhol is not the one that you want. It's definitely Jackson.
Andy Warhol's just the one that made funny pictures of Campbell's soup, right? Or something like that.
Yeah, he's the one that did the four. It's like the four quadrants in different colors. Yeah, you're looking for Jackson.
The one that the Obama 08 poster kind of looks like.
Yeah, but you want Jackson Pollock either way.
Anyways, it looked like a Jackson Pollock painting. It was all over the place. It was inconsistent. It punished our men, our boys, for having good plate discipline. They wound up taking strikes instead of balls, even though those balls were off the plate. And hey, maybe that is the Charlotte Knights have their camera in center field on a weird angle, and I just don't adjust well to that. But it did not appear half inning to half inning to be all that consistent between teams, and that's a crying shame because I think without that we have longer at bats, we take more walks. There's the Parada ball was a fly ball or a foul ball, so you can't.
This team got absurdly unlucky,
but
on
the amount of fly balls that just died a foot from the fence when their hits were going through like that. Danny Hall said it on Packer and Durham this morning, is a game of inches. Baseball is, and this is me now continuing this from his quote, baseball is an incredibly grinding, unlucky, unfortunate, sometimes unfun for the people playing it sport. And like, that's life. We held as close as we could. We killed 3 or 4 innings with double plays. Like, it's hard to win ball games when you're grounding into double plays and the strike zone is looking like, modern art.
I'm telling you, they could have put it on a poster and sent it to the Museum of Modern Art right here in Atlanta, and it would be on display.
Yeah, well, and a left turn for that. You and I as we noted, are one for making snark and playful snark and not complaining, angry online type stuff with the Twitters.
Existential snark is my brand. Thank you.
Yeah, and I think it's okay to have that kind of how you say
attitude.
Attitude about the game, about that, but you have to present yourself as a fan, as a Georgia Tech representative, I guess, in a certain way.
Are you giving me a talking to about how I tweet now?
No, I'm not. I'm giving us a pep talk about how we roll.
I'm looking to see how you land this plane.
I'm not going to say I can't, but you can
land this thing. Surely you can land this thing.
I'm sweating buckets like that guy in the movie Airplane.
I set you up for the airplane quote, and you didn't.
Don't call me Shirley. Whatever.
Too late.
It's late.
All right.
I drove 13 hours today, my guy.
That doesn't matter. Commitment to podcast.
I'm not sure. No.
Completely.
You have to present yourself a certain way. Arguing arguing each ball and strike is not a way to go. But if you're making an observation, that's a completely, in my opinion, different.
Especially if the strike zone is a Jackson Pollock painting.
Well, but the worst part is it didn't set us up with, hey, like, wow, UVA getting the chance to win a tie, or Pitt, or Notre Dame, or something interesting happening. No, it pit NC State, the in their bid to end the we haven't won a baseball, football, or men's basketball title in the last
30-something years.
Decades. Yeah, versus Duke, who, let's be real, nobody ever wants to see Duke win anything in any sport. Ever. Not ever.
Maybe even Duke fans don't want to see this, because then they can't complain about anything.
Well, I don't think they'd know if they won anything outside of Cameron Indoor, but that's just me.
Oh, this is good hating Spurrier content right here.
Yeah, well, didn't Spurrier coach there?
Yes, he did. It was bad.
Wow. So literally hating Spurrier.
I think that he took them to their first bowl ever, potentially, but also not great.
Yeah, they still played in the high school stadium back then. Frankly, they still kind of do.
They still do. You know. Okay, can we talk about the regional? Can we talk about the regional?
We kind of got railed there, my guy. It's the first time, again, to quote Danny Hall. This is all thanks to him. This is the first time an ACC Coastal champ has not hosted a regional since 2005.
Okay, see, I hear what you're saying. My eyes watching this baseball team and my brain
know that we do not deserve to host a regional. Yes, that is also true.
Yes, this is a classic case of both things can be true. This is not a regional host baseball team, and in fact, most projections had Tech right where they were projected, right where they were as a 2 or a 3. And honestly, in terms of how it turned out, I'm fine with it. Maybe you could have built a little bit of better of a base in terms of, the exact regional that was that we were put in, but like you can't really argue positioning and seeding when you have no real platform to stand on,
Yeah, no, I agree.
So let's talk about the regional real quick, because we are starting to run a run a front of time. The 1 seed here, this is obviously the Nashville Regional, so Vanderbilt is hosting at it with a 40-15 record, 19-10 in the SEC. They are D1 Baseball's third-ranked team in RPI. Tech is second, 29-23 record, 21-25 in the ACC, 46th in RPI. Indiana State is the 3, 30-19, 14-10 in the MVC. Also the MVC tournament runner-up, 33rd in RPI. And then Presbyterian, 22-21, 18-16 in the Big South, and also the Big South tournament champion. They are 132nd in terms of D1 Baseball's RPI. So I think my initial thought here, and I think when we were talking about this one as the seedings came out last night, was that this is a bad setup for Tech to get out of a regional for the first time in ages, just based on the 1 seed placement.
I want to see if you're following on this. Georgia Tech, they be kind of borderline as an at-large bid for a tournament. They get put into a regional with a really, really well-regarded 1 seed or top seed, however you want to go with that. A team that has a lot of expectations put on them. They are matched up with a Missouri Valley Conference team of a lower seed that is actually, spoiler alert, better than them.
Oh no, you're not doing this bit again. I cannot believe you've fooled me into doing this bit again.
Akshay, all this is men's basketball 2.0.
Time, flat circle, etc.
This is a big sign that should say, danger, we've seen this before. A trigger warning, whatever. Like, this is... And granted, it's a little bit different. Loyola did actually win the Missouri Valley Conference before they rolled in unseeded, and did not, unlike Indiana State, become a team that is very solid but completely written off by the Power 5 SEC Big Ten got snubbed, blah, blah, blah. Why is Fairfield in the tournament types?
That's a conversation for another day, I think.
Yeah. My point is here, Indiana State, ace is quite good. I believe he has one loss all year. Their bats are
Hold on,
pretty good.
no. Pause. You are not evaluating pitchers based on wins and losses right now in front of me.
I mean,
You're not doing it. I want his ERA.
You want his ERA? Okay,
I want
fine.
ERA. I'm not letting you use pitcher wins.
While I go look up this stat,
finish the point, but I'm not letting you use pitcher wins.
I will note that as much as I love being a Presbyterian, and as much as I love other Presbyterians, if we lose to Presbyterian Blue Hose baseball, that would be an absolute disgrace.
Also, important note, yes, their team name is Blue Hose.
Yeah, it's like White Sox, except Blue Sox, except Blue Hose.
Continue.
Anyways, Indiana State. Jeremy Guerrero's ERA of 1.93 and a 10-1 record on the season.
I refuse to let you evaluate pitchers on win-loss. I will take his ERA. I agree with the ERA. Your opinion is valid on ERA.
My guy, they play with aluminum bats, for Christ's sake.
Pitcher wins are not a good point of pitcher evaluation.
No, they're not, and they're even worse in college baseball. But the fact that he has 10 wins in college baseball is quite a lot in a shortened season. They only played 40 games.
Okay, we need to roll on here. You've made your point. You've made your point.
Indiana State, I'm not trying to scare y'all. I'm not trying to be a downer. But it's very easy to sleep on the 3 and 4 seed from mid-major, low major, blah, blah, blah. They won their tournament, whatever. Indiana State got here because they play good baseball. And we need to play good baseball to beat them. Granted, are we capable of playing good baseball? Yes. We are capable of doing great things in great moments. We are capable of putting runners on base. We are sometimes capable of keeping runners off base. But
see, I think the point here is that you said sometimes.
We're going to have to learn to hit this Guerrero character, Mr. Kumar Rocker, Mr. Leiter of Vanderbilt. We are going to run into 2 of those 3 guys. That's assuming we win against Indiana State, and that's not even a guarantee on Friday. Wow, I'm really talking myself out of driving up there just for the game. But no, you can catch that on the usual suspect ESPN family of networks and streaming this weekend.
Just go ahead and do the ad. Come on, ESPN family of networks and the ESPN app. Just go ahead and do the whole ad while you're at it.
Ugh. I will add, it's very possible. We beat UGA 2 out of 2 times that we played them. Granted, both were late heroics, but we still beat them and made this tournament, in which they did not. And they took the series from Vanderbilt.
Transitive property. Very curious.
At the very worst, assuming you see Vanderbilt 3 times, you essentially have to win a 3-game series against them. That is facing them in the second round, assuming you beat Indiana State. And if you win there, if you lose there, then you either play 2 games the next day, including one against them, and if needed on Monday, or you have to win through the losers bracket and beat them and win 3 games in 2 days, including a Sunday night and a Monday against Vanderbilt, which is a very tall order. Let's be real. That is a tall order. You want to stay in the winner bracket as long as you can.
You could also hope and pray for a miracle that Presbyterian takes out Vandy. I'm not going to say I'm not going to sit here and say Presbyterian is going to be an easy out, but you could also hope and pray for that option.
Let's just hope Mr. Justin Henry Malloy kept his film, kept his charts and notes and whatnot to
Also,
study
Chance
up on.
Huff.
Yes, him too. He is a person that exists.
Oof. What a scathing report about a Georgia Tech pitcher. That's some real downer stuff right there.
I very much like his stuff, and he's got good fundamentals. I didn't mean to come off that harsh.
Ooh, roast him. Do it. Do it.
No,
Be on the
don't do
record.
that. Akshay, this is a no roasting our own guys podcast.
Unfortunate. Truly unfortunate. Hot takes should exist everywhere.
Hot takes is how we burn bridges, and we don't have many of those to burn, so we need to keep them standing.
Just to close the loop on this regional, the first game that Tech will play again is versus Indiana State. That will be Friday on the 4th of June at 1 p.m. Eastern Time, noon God's time on ESPN3 and the ESPN app. Yeah, I don't know. I don't feel comfortable predicting anything when it comes to this baseball team. So here we go, I guess.
Yep. Enjoy. We'll see you all Sunday. Hopefully we're happy.
We'll see you all Sunday. Peace.